What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNews.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. Let's go to Santa Anita Thursday, December 26th, Christmas for horse players. And let's go to the Grade 1 Malibu Stakes. It'll be race 8 on the card this year, going 7 furlongs, like I said, a field of 8 runners. So it should be a very, very good running of the race. The Kentucky Derby winner is in the field. I don't know. I'm sure it's happened before, but man, I kind of was like, man, when is the last time it's happened? I couldn't remember. I'm sure somebody is screaming at the computer. It was blah, blah, blah. No, I couldn't remember it, though. So anyway, Mystik Dan is in the field. That makes it exciting. He has been installed, the 5-2 favorite, morning line favorite, I should say, in this race. So let's go through them one by one. There's a field of 8. We'll give you the 8 rundown, or the rundown of the 8 here. Then I'll give you my winner of the race. Let's start with the number 1, Bentorado. And Bentorado was a half length away from being a Breeders' Cup winner last time out. And boy, a heartbreaking loss at 28-1. This horse, like I said, half length away, almost got there, just couldn't quite get the job done. 2 races back, won the Gallant Bob by a neck with Irad Ortiz aboard that day. And also 3 races back there at Charlestown was a nice runner off of a long layoff, lost by a length and a half in a $500,000 stakes race. So Bentorado, that's the 3 races this season. And like I said, 1 win, 2 seconds, pretty good efforts in tough spots. Bentorado, the year before, if you kind of remember, burst onto the scene at Gulfstream Park with 4 straight victories, and then lost, finished 3rd, only beaten a length when stretching out, in that race, 4 races back. So, 5 races back. This horse ran so well. I forgot to mention, was at Saudi to start the season off in the Saudi Derby, and was 3rd, beaten 6 lengths, but was defeated by Forever Young and Bookham Dano, 2 really nice horses. So kind of, forgot about that one to start the season as well. So look, I mean, this horse has really done nothing wrong. 9 starts, 5 wins, 2 seconds, 2 thirds. Just really a world-class type of horse. Has really been everywhere and ran well everywhere. So great distance of 7 furlongs. I think that's a really, really good distance. You look back throughout the career, been pretty good. At Gulfstream Park was able to win at this distance. At Charlestown got 2nd, but it was off that long layoff. So I think this is perfect for him. Saya's aboard for the 2nd straight race. He was aboard there for the Breeders' Cup Sprint as well. So he comes in with a big chance, no doubt. The number 2 is Pilot Commander. Bob Baffert runner here. Hernandez aboard this one. I thought that was interesting. Hernandez is aboard this one here. Pretty good horse. Nice debut win. 2nd in the San Vicente behind Muth. Then it was a long break. Finally saw the horse back in September at Del Mar. 2nd, beaten 3/4 of the length for winning at Santa Anita last time out by 2 3/4. Step up, big time step up today. That's going to be the big question mark. Not sure he can handle it. That's going to be kind of where I land on this one. Kind of scary to do it, but I kind of don't love this Bob Baffert runner in this spot quite so much. The number 3 is Winterfell. And if you remember Winterfell, this was one that was working pretty well. You kind of felt like, yeah, I think this is a horse that could kind of maybe jump on the Derby scene, for Baffert. But it took a long time for the horse to debut, all the way to March, and just didn't do any running for Baffert. Had 5 starts and just never could really sniff even breaking his maiden. Shipped the horse off to Brittany Russell like they sometimes do with kind of the lesser horses, the ones that don't really materialize for Baffert. And this horse found itself, got on a roll, won by 8 in a maiden special weight at Parks, won by 3 3/4 in a maiden special, an allowance race at Laurel Park, and then won a stakes at Laurel Park last time out by 2. The horse did so well, they said, hey, let's give it a shot. Back with Baffert here, coming back to Southern California. Johnny Velasquez aboard. That's a good sign as well. We'll see. I have a feeling they maybe should have kept the horse in the Mid-Atlantic circuit because it was doing so well, but going to give him a shot here. I don't love him in this spot, but look, he's kind of found himself. At one time, he was working pretty well for Bob Baffert. He's by Arrogate. I mean, there's the breedings right there. It's pretty good. So wouldn't be shocking, but I at the end of the day, I kind of just stay away from this one as well. The number 4 is Senior Officer. This horse will get Flavian Pratt services here. That's good news. Broke the maiden 2 races back at Churchill Downs, and then last time out was second in an allowance race at Churchill Downs. So both against older horses will now face just restricted 3-year-old company here. So I think that'll help. I don't think the horse is quite classy enough. The speed figures are a touch low. Tough spot. Wouldn't be shocked. Kind of just looked elsewhere, though, with this one as well. Even though the last 3 horses, I've kind of said I'm looking elsewhere for a Baffert horse, and then a horse rode by Pratt. So that could be a big problem. Speaking of Bob Baffert, he's got the number 5 Imagination. This is a horse that, again, once upon a time, I think a lot of people really thought was going to be very, very good. He won the San Felipe. He was second in the Santa Anita Derby, only beating a neck. He went to the Preakness and the wheels came off. He was 4-1 that day, did no running, got 7th. Went to the Woody Stevens. People thought, okay, cut back, might run a little better. Got 7th. Still hasn't been that good. Ran at Del Mar 2 races back in the Shared Belief. Ran better, got 3rd, but was beaten 3 1/4. And then last time out, dropped down to the allowance ranks and still didn't do much running. Got 2nd, beaten ahead. I shouldn't say he did running in that race, but still, this is a horse that we thought could win the Preakness, and he couldn't win an allowance. I just can't back him. Another Bob Baffert horse I'm just not that excited about. Gets Joel Rosario today. We'll see if that helps. But yeah, I hate to say it. I don't know. I don't know about the 5 Imagination in this spot. Let's keep going. The number 6, like I mentioned, Mystik Dan. He's back after winning the Kentucky Derby 3 races back. How did it go afterwards? Well, he ran pretty well in the Preakness. He got 2nd, beaten 2 1/4. That was the race. Sees the Gray got out by himself and just wouldn't back up. So not a bad race. Thought he ran okay. Belmont Stakes, hey, the 3rd race of that Triple Crown. They tried it. It didn't go well. He got 8th, beaten 15 3/4. We know he's better than that. He just got tired, didn't run that well that day. Now we're cutting back to 7 furlongs, and that's kind of the distance that everybody kind of thought this horse would be best at all along. So it'll be interesting to see how he does here. We haven't seen him go less than a mile since his maiden special weight win at Churchill on November 12th of last year. So it's been a while, but he was super impressive that day. So impressive that when they stretched this horse out, everybody was like, no, don't do that. Cut him back. He's going to be great. And then he won the Southwest and what was really impressive, ran okay in the Derby. And then, of course, Arkansas Derby, I should say. And then, of course, won the Kentucky Derby. Do we trust him off this kind of a layoff? Kenny McPeak, 29 runners with this kind of a layoff, hit at 10% win percentage, 38% on the board percentage. I don't know. He's working great. I know that. So, look, I don't know that I really want to bet Mystik Dan here as a favorite, but I'm not going to be shocked if he wins. I think he's one you might have to use in your exotics. He's working really, really well. And if he shows up with his best, I think he's a little bit better than what we're going to see in this race. So be very interesting to see what happens. But off the layoff, maybe you can get by him. Maybe you could beat him in this spot. The number 7 is Stronghold. I think he's a real challenger in this race. A lot of class here from him. Of course, Santa Anita Derby winner, Sunland Derby winner. We kind of talked about that. 7th in the Kentucky Derby, but he ran okay. Just didn't do much in the Indiana Derby or Pennsylvania Derby. Got 2nd in both those races. So maybe, quote unquote, didn't do much is kind of, not accurate. But what I kind of meant was he never really threatened to win either one of those races. Beaten 2.5 and 3 3/4 in those spots. Cutting back today, and I think that's going to be okay. He's got some decent races. He broke the maiden going a mile, but it was a 1-turn mile at Churchill Downs. He was 2nd in the Bob Hope, but he was 2nd to Nyquist. So he ran okay there. So I think the cutback's going to be okay. I think, can we get enough pace to run at? I think it's going to be the big key. I don't know if that will happen or not. He's going to need pace. I think he'll come with a little bit of a run, though. I think he's dangerous, especially at 8-1. And then finally, speaking of pace, what about the 8 Raging Torrent? Can he get out in front and take him gate to wire? That's going to be the big question mark. This horse was kind of just toiling around is the best way to put it. They'd put him on the turf. They were just kind of searching. He won on debut, and then, he had just a run of races where I wouldn't call it awful, but he just wasn't great. Finally, on May 4th at Churchill Downs in an allowance race, and this was on the Kentucky Derby weekend, He won by 8 1/4 going 7 furlongs. And it's like in an allowance, it's like, okay, pretty good. Stepped up to a stakes and won by 2 1/4, and then stepped up to the grade 2 Pat O'Brien and won by a neck. So 3 straight races, all at 7 furlongs, all victories. And so that was very eye catching, was no doubt about it, to kind of go through that streak. Now, last time out, tried the Breeders' Cup Sprint, which don't blame him, won the Pat O'Brien, might as well try the Sprint. Got 7th, beaten 6 1/4. Just didn't run all that well in that spot there. But I could see him kind of jumping up and running a better race here, especially, a little bit easier of a spot, drawn outside of all the speed, so he can kind of, they kind of sit him where they think they need to sit him. So I think he's in with a big shot here. I think it'd be very interesting to see what he does. And it should be noted that Raging Torrent will get Dettori aboard because Frezu has, I guess, chose to ride Stronghold instead. He was kind of the regular rider for both of those runners. So that's your field of 8. I'm going to go back all the way to the rail. I'm going to go the number 1, Bentorado, to win this race. I love his consistency. I love the fact that he's fast, but he doesn't absolutely have to have the lead. I think he can kind of just get placed where they need to put him. Could it be another second place, a close second place effort? Sure, that could happen for sure. But I think his consistency and his running style is going to suit Santa Anita very well. I think he'll run a really, really strong race here. So I'm going to go the number 1, Bentorado, to win this year's running of the Malibu. All right, that'll do it for a preview of the Malibu. Make sure to hit that like button. If you like the video, hit subscribe. You really like it, want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Santa Anita on Thursday, December 26th.